Well, welcome everybody. How's it going? Welcome to the IB Oral German Prep. We are going to be practicing today with some general words. Now, when describing a picture, it's important to know some general words. And what are general words, you say? General words are just things like people, they're doing something. We're speaking in generalities because, looking at the picture, we can't really tell if the people are from a particular country. We can make some general assumptions, but in overall, we want to kind of stay a little bit safe at first. So, there's a couple of words you'll need to know. The first word is dimension. Okay, mention is a word for people. Another word that we might say is die Leute. Now, one thing to consider is that die Menschen and die Leute are both plural. So that means whatever verb comes next needs to have that en on it, or it has to be treated as if they were lots of people. That doesn't happen with all the case. With sometimes there's collective plurals that are treated as one, like family or die Familie. That is like treated as a singular. But in this particular case, die Menschen and die Leute uh, arbeiten. You could say that they're working. You say die Menschen lesen. Sie arbeiten zusammen. They read or they work together. And lastly, you might use the word die Personen. Die Personen also are persons. Okay. So there are some minor differences between die Menschen, die Leute, and die Personen. Uh, Typically, Personen is like persons. Dimension is more like humans. Okay, or when you're talking about people as a collective, humanity, the Menschheit, where it's kind of focusing on the overall aspect that they are humans. Die Leute is more colloquial, a little bit more casual. So, some kind of good things to think about. So, in this particular case, where you're describing a photo, personally, I believe that they could be either of them, but I would probably gravitate to Es gibt fünf Menschen auf dem Bild. Next, you might want to consider different verbs that you might use. So we have arbeiten, which is to work, lesen, which is to read, schreiben is to write, sprechen is to speak. Now, you might use these words, die Menschen arbeiten auf ein Projekt, die Menschen lesen, okay, oder sie sprechen miteinander. So you might use different variations. And again, when you start using it, you notice how I said sie sprechen miteinander. They speak with each other. Feel free after the first time you use that noun, like die Menschen arbeiten, but you could also say sie sprechen miteinander. So you don't have to say die Menschen, die Menschen, die Menschen. It gets a little bit boring. So you use the pronoun sie. Sie sprechen. So go ahead and take a second and try and describe what's going on. The next level might be to talk about, the overall purpose of work. How do people work differently here in your country versus over in another country? Specifically, some of the German speaking countries, or even broader into Europe. Notice that these people, they're obviously collaborative in nature. Does that happen with you in your school environment? Do you get to collaborate? And if so, how does that impact things? Does it matter that we work together as a society, pull in different perspectives from different people? Or is it okay if we just take one person's perspective or one group's perspective to create solutions for our problems? So, those are some ways that we could take this up to the next level.